Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I should really gotta stop saying good morning. Hello, everybody, at whatever time you're watching me at. VOD in the stream. Thank you for joining me here today. I was about to pop back in to our boy Zelt here. Really, I'd like to play the game a fair bit this stream, which is something that is hard to do sometimes for a variety of reasons. Hey, Fyodik, how you doing? But as I started the game right now, I saw, my ENB information pop up in the top left. And I think it's about time that we updated our ENB binaries. What do you think? Because I am actually still running 3.318, I believe. So let me go ahead and I'm hoping that maybe these will have, or like the new binaries will increase my performance even further. Really, I've just been super lazy and have not downloaded the newest ENB files. I'm doing it right now. It's funny, right? How something that takes 2 seconds can be something that you put off for so long. Hey, Connor, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. I got your message on Reddit, by the way. I'm sorry I didn't respond yet. I have been kind of scrambling this morning to get everything ready for the stream, but I'm happy you're here with us today. And no, I don't want injector. I want a wrapper version. Hey, Two Hands, One Sword. How you doing? Thank you for joining us. Now, this is trickier because I don't want to replace any of that stuff. So I'm just going to grab where's my Skyrim folder? Taking a break from Skyrim at the moment. It's nice to watch these still. Well, thanks for joining us anyway. I know how that goes. Anything that you enjoy, too much of a good thing is a very common expression, right? But anything we enjoy, we can burn ourselves out on, no problem. It's like I played, I've mentioned this in the past, but Stardew Valley is one of my favorite games of the past couple of years. I think it's wonderful. I think that both Stardew Valley is a game that's wonderful to me from so many different directions. I think that it's beautiful visually and, in terms of audio design. I think that it's just a very fun overall experience for me. I think that my favorite thing about Stardew Valley is the care and the intricacy of its design. And it's just one of those games that it's the type of thing that inspires me. It's the type of thing I want to create, where the more you play it, the deeper the rabbit hole goes, and the attention to each system is absolutely palpable, as opposed to a game where the more you play it, the more you realize that things aren't perhaps quite as well thought out as you thought they were. So anyways, Stardew Valley was absolutely one of my favorite games of the past 2.5 years. And when I played it like nonstop for 100 hours. And then one day I was just like, I'm burnt out on this and I gotta take a break. And I've barely picked it up since, which is kind of funny. But I think I'm gearing up to go back. Hey man, your playthrough was great to watch. Is that mine or Two Hands, One Sword? Did you have a playthrough of Skyrim? Oh yeah, he does. Thanks, man. I have another one in the process, but I've been a bit busy with life lately. I get confused as to whose usernames are what on all the different platforms that this thing stretches across. Okay, anyway. I'm going into Skyrim, and I believe that I can replace the binaries just by copying enb host and d3d9.dll. Why don't we do this? I don't need the ENB series, do I? Rob, is that you? Note by. I hope so. If so, that's my buddy Rob. Hello, Rob. I think. Let me see here. It is him. Fyodik's having dinner. You're across the pond, right, Fyodik? Am I correct about that? Across the pond. Alright, well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take Skyrim. I'm going to copy these boys. Thank you very much. And then I'm going to... Actually, here's what I'm going to do. Why don't I go here? I'm going to go, just in case, never hurts to back things up. Go this man, and what is it, ENB host here. Both of you guys, take you, put you here. And then we'll go ahead and replace them. Put them right here. Place the files in the destination. God. Morning coffee, right? What would we do without you? You guys remember that episode of Dexter's Lab where Dee Dee and Dexter discover the coffee? Where's Model Organizer now? There it is. They drink all the coffee overnight, just get absolutely wired, and then crash, and then in the morning their parents wake up and have like an existential crisis because the children have drank all the... Yeah, you kids drank all the coffee? I really like that show. I think that was I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm gonna bastardize it. Is it Gendy Tartakovsky, the same guy who did Powerpuff Girls, and I thought also Samurai Jack, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know. So I hope you guys all had a good weekend. Juan is in the cabinet. That's right. I remember that brand of coffee. Rob, we missed you at the party. It was a good time. I was scrambling for it though. I was finishing up. I have a Magic School Bus costume that I put together with Liz, and I spent honestly an embarrassing amount of time building out the actual school bus, which is what I was. I had a bunch of pictures. Maybe, you know what, here. I'm not wearing pants, so be careful. But I'll go and grab it real fast because I have to show this thing off. I spent too much time on it to not. Thanks for the invite. I was a mailman. We definitely invited you to the party, did we not? Oh, if not, I'm about to fucking freak out. If so, I'm so sorry, man. Oh my god. You have my sincerest apologies, Rob. I fucked that one up real hard. Here, I'll be right back. Shit. So you can see this thing is not easy to move around in, which is a major problem at the party as well. This is my Magic School Bus. I built it out of paint and a bunch of other supplies. So let's see here. Here's the camera. Here's the front. I got like little suspenders here that I can wear it with. Check the side. I can't remember who's on this side. Oh yeah, here we go. We got, Notorious RBG, we got Jaden, and we got my boy Waluigi is on this side. And then on this side, who's over here? Here you got, I think that's Violent J from ICP. You got my girl Abby Lee Miller, and that's actually my friend Roland, which I thought was pretty funny. And then probably my favorite part of the whole thing, on the back, you got my friends Sonichu and Rosechu. That's a what's it called? A high risk, high reward joke. But for the people who got that joke at the party, I think it was pretty funny. And that's my guy. So this took me like I said, an embarrassing amount of time to put together. Get it out of here. Oh, baby. What'd I miss? Let me see. Oh, it's actually awesome. Streams get better every time. Well, I'm glad you guys think so. I'm glad you think that's a top tier costume, Rob. Like I said, I spent a frankly ridiculous amount of time putting that together, more than I really should. But hey, we did it. I figured that I would, save money and I'd go DIY for my costume this year. Didn't really save that much money, to be honest. The total thing was probably about like $60 to $70 once all the supplies were accounted for, between the cardboard box, all the paints, glue. Just paint really was probably the most expensive part, but I did learn how to get sick discounts at Michael's, so that's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, okay. So what were we doing? I'm assuming the ENB triggered correctly. I guess we'll find out in a moment. That's a test save. This is the one that we last left off on. Yeah, dude, I had no idea that Michael's discounts were so readily available. I didn't even check. I went back. I must have gone back and forth to Michael's like 4 or 5 times over last week. One thing I will say that was really enjoyable about that was that there's this really amazing ramen shop that is in the same plaza as the Michael's nearby. And every time I would go up and down the escalators into the parking garage, I'm pretty sure their ventilation goes straight into that escalator hallway, and it does smell amazing. So there's that. Here I am. Let's see. Check my ENB. Will it say? ENB. Go here. Been here about all of 30 seconds, so I got to run for family stuff. Have an awesome stream, guys. I'll cherish those 30 seconds. Thanks for stopping by, Connor. Good luck with everything. I hope everything goes wonderfully for you, you know. I know that, well, just good luck, my friend. Now, let's see. There has to be a way for me to check here. I guess, I mean, if it's working, we know it's there. If anyone remembers seeing the ENB binaries when we first popped up in, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just check it later. Seems to be running very smoothly, but these outdoor areas typically do because they're not super challenging. Well, I believe we have... Hey, Ferfante, how you doing? Two Hands, One Source. Michael's was my first job in high school. Good times. It seems like a fairly decent place to work, although I suppose at a job like that, it really depends on your individual store a lot of the time. The people there seemed relatively chipper, I'd say. Far more so than some other retail locations I've seen. My favorite thing... Oh, yeah, that costs money, too, is I went to Staples so I could print out those little Photoshop things of everyone's face. And, because I don't have a printer. And the print... I mean, hey, I shouldn't complain because I was able to print it there. And it wasn't super expensive. It was like 50 cents per, which, you know, maybe that's more expensive than it would have been if I owned my own, but that's the trade-off. But... I will say that Staples' printing interface is pretty ridiculous. You can tell it's based on Android, and you can only print one thing at a time. And it takes, I'd say on average, with no exaggeration, like 2.5 to 3 minutes to print like a single thing. It sucks. It took me like almost an hour to print out like 15 pieces of paper. Hey Zarnel, how you doing? Okay, so... Let me see here. Ruin Pelt. The Villain, thank you for the sub. Also, I missed Ardor and Relaxja for the follow. Thank you guys both for that. Please don't stand on my camp. Well, I suppose it's good that the collision doesn't register with my tent. Let's see. Last Pharaoh says, how are the loading times? Excuse me. In 4.0. For me, the biggest problem with huge mod lists are the unbearably long load times, not the performance. Though I would say that it's better than 3.4. I also have... It's hard for me to compare directly. Don't walk into my fucking thing. Ugh. The camera bob is bothering me. So I'm running Skyrim off of a solid state now, which I was not doing before. Anecdotally, I'd say the load times are a little bit faster. Also, it's hard for me to say... exactly as a point of comparison because my computer is fairly well off, but I don't know. We can test the load times. You can see what would be a good one. Here, let's do this. Go Whiterun Origin. There we go. So this is a very heavy cell. It's got a lot of stuff in it. We can see how long this load takes. Zarnel says, hey, Belmont boy, real talk, those woolly mammoth ground shakes, non-immersive. Yeah, dude, I feel the same way. That kind of occurred to me. So there you go. There's a Whiterun load. Not tremendously bad. It's kind of, for me, I'm kind of patient when it comes to that stuff. I think it's better than it was before, but at a certain point, I think there's major diminishing returns that, at least with Classic Edition, it's tough to eliminate the load times completely. Now, Special Edition, I don't know about. That one, maybe that one loads a million times faster. I honestly couldn't say. Because I have never actually played a large mod list on Special Edition. What's another one? Let's try Markarth. How about that? Markarth Origin. I bought second SSD just for US4. That's awesome, Fiodik. Two Hands, One Sword says load times are good for me. Also, of course, it's going to depend on your optional plugins as well. So, whoa. Nope, by Rob. Thank you for the donation. Oh my god. Did you just push Dylan off of the all-time top? Oh, well, I have to let him know. Thank you so much, man. It means so much to me. What was I saying? I got sidetracked. I can highly recommend putting a super modded Skyrim up on an SSD. Part of the load times are just file access, and so that takes time. Rob, smacked my microphone too. Also, we've already been here, haven't we? Because Miss Lady is not getting murdered out front. Actually, I do remember coming here on this character. Also, I love this fog. But however the load times were there, I was not paying attention, but that's a good point of reference. Thank you again, Rob. That means so much to me. Let's go in here. I don't know, these things are not fantastic at updating the little widgets. I feel like if I go, hold on, give me a second. Oh, nope, there it goes. It takes a quick second in order to get it in there. What I miss here? I can highly recommend putting a super modded Skyrim up. Just read that. Would it be possible to make skin animals look different? Yes, Corrupted Slime. It actually is possible. It's something that is on my list of things to do. Or at least it should be possible. The way that I'd be doing that is through the combined effort of Hunterborn and Hunting in Skyrim, which is on my to-do list. Ooh, what is this noise? British Necro, thank you for the cheer. That is, I'm still kind of confused when it comes to Twitch and all the different things that can be done there. Let's see here. Yeah, so anyway, Hunting in Skyrim does have a feature where the animals that you skin will appear as though they are skinned. They look all gross and like sinewy and have their muscles exposed. So that's pretty cool. And I think that I can get it working with Hunterborn. I don't think it'll be tremendously difficult. The trick would be with automatic variants. It would be getting... because automatic variants has this issue whereby if you skin one of the animals that automatic variants has edited, it will revert it to the original texture, which in the case of this, either the skinned one or the automatic variants one, it'll be broken. So I got to figure out a solution for that. But that might just be skipping over automatic variants for certain animals. Maybe there's a way to get everything working together. I just have to sit down and take a look at it, and I've not done that before. Last Pharaoh says, yeah, that was pretty quick. SSC is instantaneous. How about that? That is something special. One day, man. One day we're going to be able to move to Special Edition. Zarnel says, anytime you put in more clothing / armor, nicer meshes, bigger textures, fancier bodies, just takes more literal time to load. It's very true, which is why I try to kind of ride the middle ground between... you guys doing this little dance again. Cuties, look, it's the mating dance of mammoths. Please don't trample my thing. I tried to kind of, with the recommended settings for Ultimate Skyrim, even if you do the absolute maximum, the full installation, it should still be relatively, like, unobtrusive on your performance and on your load times. Let me see here. Thank you again, Rob. I just got to your message again, your purple heart. Fix it. Hello there, young man. How are you today? I'm just fine. How are you, my friend? Thanks for joining us. Thank you, British Necro, again for the cheers. Betsujin, we are just started. I will be streaming until 12. So we got all the time in the world, as long as it's the time from here to 12 there. British Necro, how many big titty mods you got? I actually have none, I would say. That's... I mean, I definitely get it, man. I remember I definitely installed my fair share. I remember the first mod like that I ever installed in any game. I was like 13 years old, and I installed like a nude Alex mod for Half-Life 2. I don't know if I should be admitting that live on a stream, but I definitely did. So I get it, but I don't have anything like that in Ultimate Skyrim officially. I would say that there's a user, I can't remember who, but someone created a very thorough and complete guide to editing 3.4 to include like all the latest, like, super hot girl, big titty, new meshes and models stuff. So if you're interested, I would run up that direction, but that stuff likely will not ever make it into the full installation of Skyrim. The only way that I would, this is a big stretch too, the only way that I would ever consider something like that, or like the nude body mods or whatever, is if there were like compelling romance mods, and even that one, it would be a tough sell because Skyrim and its NPC interactions are, let's just see, they say they leave a little bit to be desired. I play games like Mass Effect and stuff, right, where I feel like the writing is actually decent, and it gets you involved in caring about something like that. And even those ones, when you get to the actual like sex scenes, it's hard not to feel a little bit skeezed out. At least to me, it's just kind of, it never looks good. It always just looks very awkward, like you're watching two mannequins like rub their faces and selves on each other. So I don't know. Fiodik says, BB, have you noticed updated Hunterborn, including patches for CACO 2.0? I have noticed that, Fiodik. I will get to go through and update Hunterborn. CACO, I'll have to take a look at later. It likely will not make it into 4.0 because there's still a million other things to do, and that is a massive task. But it's all noted in my big old project management documents. Anytime something updates, I track all the mods that are in the installation, so anytime they update, I get notified. Also, Werewolf just built out a bot specifically for updating people, and I think the Nexus is now using it on their Discord server, so you will get a little notification anytime a mod that you have tracked updates, which is really cool. Werewolf is the Discord wizard. Shit, what are we even doing right now? I'm just answering questions, although you guys know, I said this a million times, it's what I come here to do, really. I find that when I'm actually trying to play Skyrim, this is why the Let's Play will still remain offline and will likely not be streamed. I still might stream Ultimate Skyrim at other times, but the actual core Let's Play series will be offline, so that I can actually get stuff done, you know? And not be endlessly distracted, as you guys know that I am. So we got a bunch of pelts and stuff. That was our thing last time. Let's see, 6 approximately. Now with 4 ruined pelts, we can create... Oh, and so the crafting system from the last video, right? That is not currently active on this profile. It's not quite in a state where I'm willing to integrate it into this character that we've been using for these streams, but that should be the case for next week's stream. It should be all nice and tidy and ready to go. The problem is that a bunch of the recipes have not been assigned yet, so that while the dynamic crafting will function, the recipes aren't there for us to be able to make the stuff we're trying to make yet. Let's see here. If the Papyrus utility is installed within another mod, would that suffice for the requirement, or does it need to be apart from another mod? I'm not quite sure what you mean, fix it. You're talking about the Papyrus utility mod that's included as part of US? I suppose if it's the exact same files, then sure, that would fulfill the requirement. But, you know, if you install it in, you know, just standalone, and then you also install it in another mod that has all the files itself, that shouldn't really harm anything. And to me, it's better to be safe than sorry and just make sure you have the whole thing installed yourself. British Necro says, it's all about Skyrim very special edition for Alexa. Oh, yes, of course. I've seen that. I prefer actually to play a custom version of Skyrim that I made by porting all of US into the Sims 2 engine. That's really, I think, where the future of Skyrim is going. But the very special edition for Alexa, you know, it's very, very special as well. Where was I at? Rob says just making an Easter egg. Are you talking about the romance, the nude mods? Problem is, I know everyone's just going to pop right in and take off their clothes and then just furiously jack it. Which, you know, hey, go for it. No judgment. 2 hands, 1 sword. I have Baijin AIO. It's nice. That's one of the body mods, I think, right? Body meshes. Thunderclaw says we're appreciating the view is what. I know this is, I've said this before. Apparently I say it all the time when I run back through Season 1. This is one of my favorite places in Skyrim. But I use this area actually quite a lot for shots when I'm doing video stuff. I just think it's really nice. I really like the way that this valley kind of dips in and gives you a really nice view. It's really nice to show off the weathers and snowfall weathers too. Bitstream says, I saw a post on Reddit about US possibly offering an installer for everything. I cannot remember the details, but is that in the future? I think there was a payment requirement for it. So what that is, Bitstream, is that one of the users in our community, he's also part of this Ultimate Skyrim team, his name is Methril. He has developed an auto-installer utility called Automaton, and it's built for general use for any mod pack author who wants to use it. The utility itself is completely free. It's open source. You can do whatever you want with it. And the way that it works is that it allows mod pack creators like myself to create configuration files. And the configuration files are what the application uses to configure like a large mod list. So you'll still have to download the mods yourself. It's a little bit easier to do through the automaton interface, so that's still an improvement there. So you download the mods, and then the configuration files are what will sort them and install them and kind of handle that entire part for you, which really cuts down on the time. The configuration files can be licensed however a creator likes. And what I said on Reddit is that I imagine that very many mod pack creators will offer their configuration files for free. I personally have decided to make the configuration files a part of my Patreon program. Most likely the $5 tier that still gets you the beta right now, or that gets you the beta right now and will still get you the beta then, just to try and monetize my work. So for the purpose of Ultimate Skyrim, that will be how you access those configuration files. The exception there is with 4.0, which will offer the configuration files for free for everybody as just kind of like a celebratory thingy, if that makes sense. So hopefully that covers your question. If you have any more questions, feel free to get at me and I will answer them. Belmont Boy, Monday stream gameplay. Enter a tiny non-story dungeon or cave, murder some bandits, get to the loot. 90 minutes of chat, leave and sell loot. 30 more minutes of chat. It's really how it goes. I mean, it's really hard for me to play well when I'm chatting with you guys. I'm easily distracted at the best of times, even when I'm not streaming. As you guys will know if you've watched Season 1. And this game is hard, so I feel like I just die all the time. Do you need to pay to use crafting stations with the new system? So currently, no, Betsujin. It may be possible to edit the new system to use crafting requires permission. I'm going to check on that. If so, that's probably what I'll do. If not, or if it just proves to be too much of a task and it's not worth the time, then I'll probably just roll back crafting requires permission for the crafting stations and then keep the functionality for things like mines so that those loopholes are still plugged. But it should be a fairly easy solution. I don't mind losing that functionality if it means keeping dynamic crafting going. It's definitely the preferable of the two to me. Excuse me, I am drinking this coffee and I'm just burping like crazy. Blah. Disgusting. Let's see here. Add fuel, kindling. Add tinder, animal fat, please. And then we will build this fire. Let's see here. British Necro sums to Rob says LOL. British Necro, I recommend a mod called Mana Tanks. What is that about, British Necro? I've never even heard of that. Dima, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. All hail the Emperor. Flickering campfire. Now I got a bunch of stuff here. I want to put some do I have any firewood left? I only have one. Well, I did make this big old pile of I chopped down a tree over here. So I got my firewood. Take my 6 firewood. Now it'd be really nice if I had a tanning rack. I think in this version all the leather recipes are still assigned to the table. So why don't we just pretend as though we have the dynamic crafting system installed on this character. And we'll say help crafting table. Player to add item. No, player. It's furniture. Player dot place at me. 727A11. Bam. There it is. Look, it's still functional. We can still use it. Just sticking out of the ground a little bit. So you can see we can use 3 ruined pelts to create leather, or I believe we can also create a fur plate with 3 ruined pelts. That's something I added just to make those ruined pelts somewhat useful. Otherwise, you can only turn them into strips. You just have to have more of them. Let's see here. Good evening. Meagle installed it 2 days after the newest update. When he updated, I don't know what that is. Answer is yes. Okay, you're talking about the Papyrus script utility functions. Well, if that's the whole thing, then you should be fine. Let me guess, you're a stealth archer build. This character is he's kind of a weird hybrid. It's like a magical archer hybrid at the moment. He's only like level, what is it, like 6 or something, so really could go any direction. But my plan, I have a little bit of sneak, but so let's just make this just to get rid of the what's it called? the weight in our inventory. Let's see here. Fur plate. Deer hide, poor. That's fine. And we can use some... Oh, there we go. Some hide lace. That's good to have. And now we can make a leather large bandolier with pauldron. What do I have now? I have a regular bandolier, right? A leather large... Oh, I'm adding the pauldron to the one that I have. That's what it is. Now the question here is, do I want to do that? Because it has armor, which is nice, and we do need armor. That matters a lot. But any sort of additional armor is going to affect our casting requirements. Oh, except for we've been doing most of our casting through spell sword. So actually, I am going to do that. Bam. Now we got a little bit more armor. Take that, put it on, bing bang boom, good to go. Let's see here. Hi Sacroletus, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Mana Tanks is a mod where your titties grow and shrink depending on your mana usage. Jesus. What a world. What a time to be alive. Hey Lindsay, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Zarnal, you always need more strips when crafting leather stuff. It's true. Strips are good to have, but they're also easy to get. So why don't I just... Here you go. Bam. Oh my god, look at all the stuff that we can now make. Why don't we... I bought a leather skin, right? Let me double check. I think we found that merchant traveling on the road who had a water skin. It's going to be in food, probably. Yes, okay, so we got a water skin. I won't bother to make that. Let's see here. Bitstream. Wait, people actually play this game? I thought it was just for modding. Well, it is for me. I mod a lot more than I play, but hopefully that will change soon because I get to do some play testing. I want a brown box pouch. What's really cool is that I'm going to be integrating clothing craft fairly soon, which gives... it's a very cool mod. It just kind of fills a huge gap in crafting and just makes clothes. Not only does it give you a huge variety of cool clothes to craft, but it also adds a lot of kind of tertiary ingredients that I think are useful across many different recipes. And one of the beautiful things about running a large mod pack where everyone kind of has the same file basis is that I can take those ingredients and apply them to other recipes that have nothing to do with clothing craft, right? So a good example would be here. You can see that box pouch brown and box pouch gray. They use the exact same ingredients, but you know there's a difference between them, they're different colors. And so with something like that, you could even take like the pigments that clothing craft adds, and then add it to one of these recipes and either make it brown or gray. Brown is typically the default leather color, but let's just say that you go to make a box pouch that's gray. You just add like a gray pigment in there, and then it makes it like a little bit different. It's just a teensy bit more immersive, because it doesn't really make sense how you could craft an item of different color from the same ingredients. Modding is the game. Sacroletus is correct. I would say that most modders, a lot of the time, spend more time modding than they do playing. I mean, it's kind of just also a function of necessity, because that's what modding requires. It's a very long, laborious process, but it's really fun. It's really fun to take a game experience. I like to play too. I mean, ultimately, this project started as me making the game into something that I preferred, right? And I think that's true for a lot of modders too. But it's just really fun to have a game that you enjoy, to identify something that you'd like to change about it, and then to change that and to see it change in the game. It's like a pretty special experience. It's like a little mini... I mean, it is game design, in a sense, It's just game design on like a pre-existing platform or canvas. Let's see here. Bitstream, mod 2 hours, play 10 minutes. Ain't that the truth? I mean, hell, even users who aren't modders themselves or who don't create mods end up spending more time modding, but that's because of stuff like load order. It's because of conflict resolution and those kinds of things, and that's what I've tried to mostly eliminate for at least Ultimate Skyrim users. Though, as I've said in the past, I would like to... So these are not supposed to be 50 points, by the way. There would be less. Do I have... How many do I have equipped? I have none. Okay, so I got like 6 slots. Let's make ourselves a nice brown box pouch. And I think I'm going to hold off for now. on making anything else. We can go hunting again tomorrow morning and replenish our stock of leather, hopefully. And we need to adjust. I need to go in and change the default object effects for these. Not common encumbrance, whoops. Complete crafting. Let's see here. Bitstream says, hey, Sakura, I haven't seen you in a while, but I've been off the game and playing Morrowind again. Oh, Morrowind. Oh, Morrowind. My favorite, might be my favorite role-playing game of all time. It's very possible that is the case. I'd have to think about it. But, let's see here. Okay, medium enchantment value. I believe that'll do it. Yeah, there we go. Let's put it on the front left. There we go. How we looking? Look at that. Our cute little new box pouch. Those could use some new textures too, but what are you gonna do, right? Let's see here. I just came across the most realistic animation overhaul. It's called Racer Animations at Nexus. Check it out. Interesting. I'm always looking for more, what's it called? Animation mods. I'm probably gonna do away with PCEA 2 at some point and just kind of make it simpler and make animations a single set across the board. So I'm always looking. Okay. Can I replenish the fuel with some... Oh, here we go. Crackling campfire. A campfire that burns for 6 hours. What time is it right now? 7:19. Well, I wish that we had like a skill book or like a prayer just to kind of pass the time, because it's definitely getting way too late to actually hunt something. It's too dangerous. We need to be able to pass the time. We have this. Where's our book? We have light armor forging, but that levels up smithing, which is not something I'm particularly interested in. Actually, here, this has been a little wonky lately, so I'm going to save just in case. We've done a lot. Let's go ahead. Light armor forging. May I study this skill book, please? Let's go. 2 hours should be fine. Look, I'm reading the book, except for not. What is happening there? Is it like my bow? 2 hours have passed. I'm inspired by the flame. Nice. What exactly is that active effect? Depleted magicka training fatigue. Recent training and study sessions have left you fatigued, reducing your magicka by 20 points. Sleeping for several hours will recover your magicka. Let's see. I'm an experienced mod user. This mod list has like 50 hours in it, like just managing it, updating things, testing graphics mods, etc. Yep, and that's just this most recent list. I managed my original Skyrim list even when I was not playing the game actively, so I could start a new character whenever I wanted. I think I kept it updated for like 2 months after playing my final Old Room character. That's why, I mean, Ultimate Skyrim, right? I can't even tell you. It's got to be numbering in the thousands of hours that we've spent on this now. That's just managing a single mod list and keeping it updated, adding new features, improving features that are already there. So there's so much that still remains to be done, let me tell you. Inspired. All skills improve 5% faster for 6 hours. I like that. Very cool. Okay. Well, before bed, shall we? Oops. I didn't mean to let that go out. Add fuel, get some branches, and the wood shavings should be fine. And then we'll make a nice crackling campfire so that we're nice and warm. Although, honestly, we could do without the fire and be fine just because this area is not particularly cold. But I like it, you know? I like the fire, and it's not like firewood is particularly difficult to come by. We are in the middle of like a little thicket of trees here. Come on, baby. Also, like, weird quick shout out to this fucking smoke particle effect that Chesco included for campfire. Like, I think it's the best one in the game, easily. Flickering campfire, yes please. Crackling campfire, yes please. Bam. Now we're cooking with fire. I guess that's kind of a pun. Ooh. Something very pleasant about being at a little campsite at night. It's kind of nice too. I'm glad that no one's really accosted us in any way. I see a white run over there on the horizon. Let's go ahead and have dinner. We can do, oh, well, I got some wolf meat. Let's go ahead and cook food. Wolf haunch. You got a lot of wolf meat, actually. I'll make 3 of them. 4 of them. 1, 2. I don't want to use my stamina buff Ale Braised Saber Cat yet. I'm going to save that for the next morning. Edible flour. I do believe I have a cook pot too, do I not? I do. So if I want to, I can make some more intricate recipes in a moment. Travel lantern. Why do I have this equipped? It's going to turn on. There we go. Embroidered mage hood. So we're pretty good. And I'm thirsty. I got some water. It's not going to be quite enough though. So maybe there was like a watering hole somewhere nearby. I can't remember if I edited these little streams yet to allow you to refill your water skin. Also, there's mud crabs around here, and I don't want to piss them off. Well, I could swear there was like a little watering hole. Let's go looking. But if we're going to venture away from the campsite, I do want my weapon out. Listen to that. Not very easy to see. It's very dark. Over here? I don't want to waste all my stamina either. This looks like it's the beginnings of a river. Yeah, here we go. I don't know if this will be enough, though. I'm going to get Giardia. That actually is a feature of Realistic Needs and Diseases, I believe. I don't know if this will let us refill our water skin. It should, but I believe I need to edit it to be able to do that. Let's see. Can I refill it from here? No, I have to use the hotkey. No sources of water. There is, though. I'm standing in one. But I don't think it's going to fly. I swear there's like an actual bigger pond nearby, like very close to us. I feel like I saw it last time we were playing, but I can't remember where it was. I suppose we're just going to have to deal. Go to sleep a little bit parched, wake up very thirsty. Don't recommend that myself. I always sleep with a bottle of water next to my bed because I constantly wake up very thirsty. I don't happen to have a healing poultice, do I? I don't think so. I need some blue mountain flowers. That would be cool. Craft item. What is the healing? Oh, I don't have the recipe yet. Damn it, I can't even make them myself. Well, fuck it. I guess we're going to bed. Let's see, what is it? 10. This fire should run for about 5 hours. Let's sleep for, let's see. This is the only way I know how to do math. 12 would be exactly 10, and 9, 8, 7, 6. 8 hours sleep. That's pretty good. Not bad. Ooh boy. Oh yeah, let that experience fucking roll in, baby. Ah! God, it's important to stretch. Ugh, look at this nice Whiterun morning. Beautiful. And I think we're all good as far as Frostfall goes. I would like to heal up. I'm going to use this deficient potion of healing. I'm very thirsty. I am a decent amount hungry. Now we can use the Ale Braised Saber Cat. And the cabbage might actually give me some water back. But really, I'd just like to find a source of water. Let's see here. You know, when I wake up from sleep, I'm usually thinking I could do with some tea. Oh yeah, well, tea is a good wake-up beverage too. There's a lot of caffeine in it, and it's nice and warm. Tea is the best, really. I used to drink a lot of tea. Let's see. Last Pharaoh 31. Is real bows a core mod? I like the idea of the mod, but it takes a lot of the flair out of the bows, and things like Daedric bows just look downright boring. The bows basically all look the same. So funny, it is a core mod as of right now, Last Pharaoh, but I'm going to be rolling it back, and I'm probably putting CM wooden bows back in for the exact reason that you just mentioned. I thought it was a nice idea, but just after... Oop, there we go. First kill of the day. After some additional playtesting, I'm inclined to agree with you. I mean, the models are nice, don't get me wrong, they're fantastic, but they just don't fit with the rest of the game. And a big part of, you know, the gameplay now is being able to visually discern what's what. So, oh shit. Forgot we did this already. I'll be rolling that back and putting the other ones in there. Let's see. I'm not sure what I would describe as maximum thirsty, which I need thinks I should be. Lil Lindsay says, have you tried Vortex, BB? I have not tried Vortex yet. I've been meaning to. I just haven't made the time to do it. I like the idea of it. I think for the purpose of, like, Ultimate Skyrim, something that's like a really, really heavy mod list that requires very particular kind of configuration, will probably stick with something like MO. But the idea that, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Vortex works with, like, all the different mods on the Nexus, right? Which I think is really fucking cool. See these foxes running around. If I can get them to stop. Get myself a nice fox pelt. They're so fucking squirrely, these things. Maybe those two are friends and they're like hunting bugs together or something. Sacroletius says, I made real bows standalone to add some variety among the vanilla bows. Oh, that's cool, Sacroletius. I suppose that's a nice compromise between having them replace the other ones and not having them at all. I think for me, it's just that idea where they... Maybe if they were standalone and if they were balanced, that would be fine. Because then, you know, variety can... It's never a bad thing. I don't think. But, oh, fuck me. Look at this man. That is a big mud crab. Is he guarding? It looks like there's mist coming off of a pool. Yeah, see, here we go. Now, I would prefer not to fight these mud crabs. And one of them might actually be invisible, which would be not good. I believe I fixed that bug, but I might not have. I frankly cannot remember. So I'd prefer not to die to invisible mud crab. Here, I'm just going to sneak over on the other side here, boys. You can keep your watering hole. Everyone be very careful. Be on the lookout. I'm just filling up my... What do you mean there's no sources of water nearby? Does not let me do this one because it's like stagnant or something. Well, if that doesn't trigger, then this one won't either. Ah, come on. If I get closer into the water... Oh, God, come on. So iNeed is pretty particular when it comes to its sources of water that it allows you to fill up stuff with. I don't know why it's so particular, to be honest. But, excuse me, these things really need to be edited in order to have it be usable. No, it's not the proximity to it either. Maybe the argument is that because it's a stagnant pool of water, it wouldn't be safe to drink. I don't know. But, you know, we'll see. Peon the Great says, gonna add back scoped bows, BB. I miss it, TBH. That part I'm not so sure about, Peon. I've thought about it. I think I'm gonna start with probably just re-implementing CM wooden bows, and then we'll see. Because the scoped bows, they're cool. I'm not 100% certain that I'm on board with it just from the immersion standpoint. It might be possible to create certain scopes for the bows. I don't know. We'll see. Or sorry, some of the bows can have scopes and the other ones maybe won't. You know what I'd really, really like is just a way to bring up the crossbow like a more traditional shooter where you could kind of aim down the sight. If I could do that, I would probably find like an immersion-friendly way to implement scoped bows and turn off the crosshair. Okay, we're going to get this guy. What arrow am I using right now? Alright, steel. That's good. Oh, that did not do that much damage. I'm thirsty, and I bet you that's affecting my shit here. Well, that's not so bad. But I would like to get something to drink. That elk has a lot of health. Let's get after him. I feel dirty. Gross. Let's see what we got. Where's our man? I don't like cresting hills like this. You guys know that about me. Because you never know what's on the other side. It's very dangerous. Especially in these kind of close quarters. You never know if there's going to be like a fucking saber cat like right around the corner. One of my favorite moments in Season 1 was where I was saying something exactly like that. I was like, I don't like coming up over ridges because sometimes there's just saber cats suddenly, and that's exactly what happened. It felt like fate. Find ourselves a watering hole of some kind. Drink the blood of our hunted creatures. Does blood have water in it? Let's see here. Yes, these scopes. Well, okay. Let's see here. I mean, too much variety will screw with the whole identify by sight thing. That's very true. Thunderclaw. Last Pharaoh, Peon the Great. It's weird because I hate that mod. Scopes feel so out of place and awkward. Thing with fixing invisible mud crabs, you're never quite sure you did it. Sacroletia says, Vortex is okay for other games, but for Skyrim, I would prefer MO. Until you get killed by another invisible mud crab, then you're sure you didn't fix it. See, identify by sight, what does that mean? So, Sacroletia, BB was just talking about being able to identify something, what something is by looking at it is important in 4.0. I'm not sure a freshly new character wouldn't be able to tell what everything is. Maybe some basic stuff, though, but not everything. Saber cats are surprisingly sneaky for the player. So, Sacroletia, the whole kind of philosophy of Requiem. I get what you... Oh, my God. Fuck? Hold on. Remind me about that in a moment. I'm going to see... Because I would like to take down this bear if I could. I don't have any poisons. I have a scroll of Summon Spirit Wolf and Frost Atronach. This would be good to use, honestly, because Frost will slow down that bear. Oops. Hey, guy. This guy definitely sees me. I don't think I'm going to get any bonus sneak attack here. Let's try it out. That was not good. Ugh, bad shot. And our stamina regeneration is going to be a problem. Get him! Get him! Yeah! That's right. That's right. Oh, this is overkill, honestly. Thanks, bud. I'll do that later, because I don't want to... Let's see, if I have this Flame Atronach, or Frost Atronach popped... God, I cannot speak today. Then let's see if we can find something else to use it. He's going to die, like, super quick here, though, I think. What up, guy? Oh, there he goes. Alright, well. That's fine. Get in there, bear. Let's field dress this man. Oops. Field dress this man. Or woman. Boom, there we go. Okay, let's see. Saber cat's surprisingly sneaky. At least it's not a saber cat. This bear will murder you. You guys know the mod TK dodge. Would there be a way to make dodging instant, like jumping or sneaking? So Sacroletia says, isn't Requiem about role-playing? Now, if the idea is that the player wouldn't know the difference between weapon types at a glance, I suppose you could make that argument, but the way that I see it, the idea of like a dwarven and an orcish bow and the difference between that and like an elven bow and whatever, I think that that would be fairly readily available information, or like an adventurer would know the difference between those things. At least when it comes to fairly common, like tier 1 and tier 2 weapon types and materials, like they are common, they're not hard to find, and so I think that it's reasonable that even someone who's lived to be, let's say like when you first start your character in Requiem and you have virtually no skills, you could even still make the argument then and there that your character would know the difference between an orcish bow and an elven bow, and so on and so forth. And that, the whole idea is that being able to identify your enemy's gear is a very useful thing in Requiem because there are such stark differences between the gear and the gear types and the materials. It's just like when you look at enemies from a distance and you see what kind of armor they're wearing, you know, whether it's heavy or light. That's really the main consideration. Whoa. A lot of the lower tier gear is just cultural designs anyway. Sure, so you can even recognize, it was like, whoa, that looks like elven. Doesn't look like anything else I recognize. Is this the same elk? That would be nice. Nice. Okay, so let's go down and get him in a moment. Did I get the leather and shit from our man the bear? Where? Bear. Where did he go? Can't remember. Here he is. I don't think I actually grabbed the leather and stuff. Bear. Can I skin your pelt, please? Bear pelt. Poor. Butcher meat, I suppose. Harvest the ingredients. Got some claws. Nice. Got some animal fat. And the meat, I suppose, is useful, but I'm going to start running out of inventory space here. Yeah, that's a lot of bear meat. Let me see. Raw bear meat. That's too much. Drop it all. Nice. Let's see. Little Lindsay. Do you guys know the mod TK Dodge? Would there be a way to make dodging instant like jumping or sneaking? So Lindsay, Requiem actually includes a dodge mechanic by default, at least for evasion characters, light armor characters. TK Dodge can be made to work with Requiem, but I've always felt like it's a little bit overpowered, especially with the combat edits that Ultimate Skyrim currently includes, which makes the enemy tracking a little bit less overpowered, so they kind of have to commit to attacks in the same way your character does. But there's people who implement it anyway, so let's see. Oh shit, god, I always forget about that. Where's my deer carcass, or the small deer carcass? Gotcha. Can I field dress you, please? Let's see here. One of the really good things ESO did was divorce item material from design. So this is kind of an interesting thing. I was talking about this in one of the other streams as well. How I would like to, at some point, maybe add a in-world lore-justified transmogrification ability, just because there's so many different new weapons and armor and stuff in the game now with all the different mods and so many cool designs. And there's so many, I mean, I think I'm not alone in this, where I'm kind of partial to some of the more rustic designs of the lower tier gear versus the kind of more fanciful or kind of weirder designs of the higher tier gear, like glass. And I mean, ebony is absolutely badass. And what does help is that the retextures and the overhauled models for some of those higher tier armors, stuff like A Midianborn, do go a long way towards making those armors look a lot cooler and more, you know, that like someone would actually want to use them. But anyway, I just thought it would be fun if, at least in the player's case, you could transmogrify stuff, kind of MMO style, where maybe if you... There's one mod that I found that seems really promising. It opens up a transmogrification shop in Markarth, and essentially you can go there and pay like a hefty sum to have the attributes of one bit of armor transferred magically to a different set of armor. So, for example, the whole purpose would be if you really like the visual appearance of one type of armor, but you want the stats of a different type of armor that you have that is better or different, then you can kind of make the armor that you like the appearance of have the stats of the other one. See, bear fat is apparently really tasty. Oh, really? Ish Amorum also does this, and I love that mod, but I think I'm in the minority there. I think there's a mod called World's Dawn, which adds attributes and has you need to identify enchanted gear first before being able to use it. I have heard of World's Dawn. I've checked it out, Sacrileus. It seems like a really awesome mod with a lot of very cool classic RPG ideas. Problem there is that it touches a lot of different things, and it's a major... Because there are attributes, it does include attributes, you're correct. It's like a major overhaul to how the game would function. It's one of those things where I wish I could kind of selectively have some features, and you can, but it's a question of whether it's worth the effort to disable the other features while retaining the ones that you want. Can I please... Oh, my skinning skills are improving, huh? Nice. Can we harvest some ingredients? I would really like to add... In fact, actually, let me write this down, because I meant to do this earlier. I thought a better implementation... So you guys know that I have hunting requires permit in the mod because, you know, fucking my boy... oh my god, can I not remember the name? Stratavucos, who makes all these really cool immersion mods. He created this mod that makes it illegal to hunt. And what I thought would be... The current implementation is that you have to go and purchase a permit from the steward of whatever hold you're in. And if you don't have that permit, and if you get spotted by a guard while hunting, that guard will come and ask you for your permit, and if you don't have one, you'll be in trouble. Which is cool. I really like that. But I find that it's very, like, you know, you can do most of your hunting out in the boonies like this, right? and there's no guards around here. No one's ever going to come up and see us. So I thought a cooler kind of additional feature of that mod would be to make it kind of like Kingdom Come, where if you are trying to sell game like meat in a hold, I think you should also have to present your permit, because it stands to reason that you wouldn't have got it anywhere else, right? Because if you brought it in from somewhere else, it'd probably spoil, or I guess you could like freeze it or something. Or just the idea that if you are selling meat, I would like to mark it as stolen unless you have that permit, so that, you know, like vendors won't just buy it off you because they'll know it's illegally poached meat. I thought that would be fun. And I feel like that's very similar to the Kingdom Come implementation. I wanted to write that down really fast. I might have written it down, but I can't remember. So I'll do that if you'll give me 2 seconds. It's like Thunderclaw. They eat berries and stuff, so bear apparently has a nice sweet taste. Gotta cook the hell out of it though, or you'll get parasites. Gross. I'm down to try it though, as long as someone else besides me has prepared it. Let me see. Say, make hunted meat marked as stolen unless the player has a permit? Question mark. Here you go, my little notes. Oh, I have a headache this morning. Oof. I saw. Oh, there we are. Oh, we're getting close to our camp. Kind of circled all the way around through the hills. Sacrilegious says marked meat is stolen. It's possible through script. That's what I figured, Sacrilegious. I know there's a couple mods that do something similar as precedent. Ew, headaches suck. Lindsay, I agree. Bet I can make this shot. What do you guys think? Oh, gotcha, baby. Oh, I think that's the elk from before. Take another shot. Wow, are you just going to stand there? Well, we just scored another kill, guys. Oh, someone's up there working the Moon Forge. So, I have been thinking about this for a while. I would really like to test out... I gotta be careful getting this close. Weird. Let's go field dress. You can see it's like another... it's like the one that just spawned here has AI problems or something. Field dress. There we go. Let's see. We need a patch for Hunterborn, though. Yeah, that would be no problem. Let's go skin pelt, please. Elk hide poor. And now I'm running out of space. Butcher meat. Harvest ingredients. The ingredients typically are not super heavy and can fetch us some cash. Why don't we value 18? That's pretty good. Let's go ahead and drop sort by weight. Bear pelt, poor, superb animal bone. Hey, that's not bad. Steel ingot, deer hide, water skin, fur plate, large animal bone. Let's just drop a couple of these. Uh-oh. You guys hear that? Oh, I think they just fought a wolf. Someone cast a spell or a scroll. Also, it's starting to rain. That's not good. Really got to get rid of these gross, super thick, globby rains. Anyway, what I was going to say was something. Oh, yeah. So I've been getting a little bit disillusioned with SkyTest's AI packages, at least some of them. It's really not the mod's fault. It's a very old mod that hasn't been touched in a long time, and it's extremely ambitious, and it did a lot of amazing things, like, for its time. Can I search this beehive? Yeah, please. I'll get a bee and a beehive husk. Ah, shit. That's 2 honeycombs, though. That I will take. Now I'm going to walk back to my camp and process some of these pelts and shit. But anyway, I know that Wild World, or I can't remember what the name of the mod is, but there's a new mod kind of on the scene when it comes to animal wildlife AI, and I wanted to at least test it out just because I think that there's some areas in which SkyTest can be improved, and likely what I would do is kind of combine the two and you know, hopefully take the best of both and just kind of patch them so that they don't step on each other's toes. Let's see, we need a patch for Hunterborn. Thunderclaw, good lord, please tune your TV set. You talk about the static sound of the rain? Zazamari, how you doing, my friend? Hey, BB, how are you, man? Just got back from wedding stuff. Well, yesterday, but still, is this planning for your own wedding? I remember you talking about that. Hopefully. Or if it's a friend's wedding, that's going to be lots of fun, too. Alright, so I need some leather strips. How about... Oh, okay. There we go. And I don't have any more leather, do I? No, I do not. The rain looks like white noise. Yeah, it's not particularly great. Oh, no. When I hit L, I think it turns on my lantern. Oh, my lantern. They make a wooden sword. Oh, roller paper wooden sword. Don't care about any of that stuff. Because of the firewood that I have. Just got back from Sedona yesterday. Got all the tastings out of the way. Chose cake setup too. Congratulations, man. Sedona, Arizona is very beautiful. Uh-oh, I feel chilly. That's not good. Well, damn. This actually is kind of a rough situation. Because I have a bunch of stuff that I'd like to sell, and I'm very full up, so maybe it'd be worth it to head back into town. How much gold do I have? 2,800? Not that much. Well, we can leave our camp here. I guess it's not going anywhere if we want to come back out and do some more hunting in a bit. Oh no, I'm wet. Well, let's make our way downtown. What do you guys think? Be careful. Because, oh wow, it's really raining. Keep in mind, compression from Twitch streaming can make things look worse too. Oh yeah, especially when it comes to, what's it called? Weather effects. Just because of the way that compression works. Can I fill up this area with water? Look at this. This looks nice. I'm guessing no, if I couldn't do the other one either. Nope. Fuck me, apparently. Oh, big old mud crab. See, like the mud crab AI from SkyTest, I think is fantastic. I think it works very well. I think they it gives a little bit of personality to the mud crabs, right? Where they don't just immediately run and attack you like everything else seems to in this game by default. But some of the things like deer can be a little bit wonky. I don't know. It may very well be that when I try out, is it called Wild World? I think. It may very well be that when I try it out, I'll still prefer SkyTest's AI, because there's a lot of areas in which it's completely fine. I just figured, you know, if there's something out there that might improve it and make hunting and tracking animals even more enjoyable, why not test it out, right? That's a fun activity, I think. Here we are. Back in town again. I gotta say, Boris has done such a wonderful... Oh, look at that! Rain occlusion, automatic. Boris is such a fucking wizard, dude. I still remember, I've said this before in other streams, but when he first added automatic occlusion, right? Like rain occlusion. Of course, this is a problem that for years and years and years people were trying to solve, and Real Shelter came the closest, and it did solve it, but I think by itself it's fine. It can be a little bit buggy. When you're talking about running it in a 300 mod thick mod list, it can be really tough, right? So I think it did an admirable job, but it's not an easy thing to solve. And then suddenly Boris just comes along, and just as like a little footnote in one of his updates, he's like, oh yeah, and I added rain occlusion. It's like, what? Like, are you kidding me, dude? You're crazy. Helljarkin Farm. Let's see here. Sacrolette says, I'm actually planning this ultimate good guy playthrough. I will accept all yields. I won't trap any souls in soul gems. Instead, I'll use blessed magic to release the souls from the soul gems. I'll even steal filled soul gems just to release their souls. I will fill soul gems with radiant magicka from the sun instead. Oh wow, once per day power, which requires a certain level in restoration/alteration. That's very cool. That's a very cool idea, Sacrolette. I like it a whole lot. Also, yes, Sazamari, congratulations again. That's very, very cool. Hopefully you guys got some good tastings in. Liz and I actually are doing something similar when we come back from Japan. I will be announcing this later too, but like a couple days after the next dev update, which will be on the 17th, I believe, we're leaving for Japan on the 19th. We're going to be there for 10 days, and we are doing a tasting on like the 30th. We come back on like a Thursday, and then we're doing a tasting on Friday. And so I'm hoping that what's it called? That I'll be functional and not super jet lagged, able to make decent decisions, we'll say. Ardor says, got a question about adding mod to my load order. It has behind the curtain as a master. Is it okay to activate behind the curtain and put it above US ESPs? Yeah, it should be, Ardor. That should be no problem. As long as Ultimate Skyrim is below it, the Ultimate Skyrim changes will take precedent. Zazamari says, oh yeah, BB, so since Bay showcased Vigilant for you, any thoughts on official integration into US? I thought it looked really cool, Zazamari. I think that obviously some of the... I think it would be a very large task because obviously a lot of the items and stuff that you get from it would need to be balanced and need to be considered. But so my whole kind of deal is to build out the gameplay platform of Ultimate Skyrim, right? That's what 4.0 goes a long way towards doing. There's still some additional tasks that I need to do after that in order to build out that gameplay platform. But after that, I would really like to start looking seriously at adding additional content for you to, you know, just keep your playthroughs even more interesting or to give players even more things to do from that gameplay basis. So the short answer is I would like to. I thought it looked really cool. Like I said, there's things that I would change, but I'd say there's a strong possibility. It really just depends. I'd have to play through it, you know? See, because you know that my whole shtick is consistency and making things feel as unmodded as possible, if that makes sense. Just have to make sure that's possible. Two Hands, One Sword says the Vindicator in the sewers has an ebony battle axe of shock, and he's easy to kill. Yes, that's something that we will be changing. That's on our current quote-unquote bug list, just giving him less powerful gear. I would like to sell some things, please. The stone hatchet I'm actually going to keep, although it weighs fucking 7 pounds. Weak. How much is a woodcutter's axe? Do you have one, Bellathor? Nope, you got a wooden sword, though. Well, I'll hold on to it. Anyway. Zazamari, vanilla cake with lemon curd, with a lemon mousse and raspberry layering, with vanilla buttercream icing, with almond crunch on top. Holy shit. I don't have much of a sweet tooth, but damn, that sounds delicious. I'm totally on board with the idea of getting core gameplay finished and then adding extras after. Well, I'm glad. That is, Oh, Lindsay, thank you very much. I almost missed your message. Let's see here. Well, we're good there. I suppose I could sell this. It doesn't even have a, enchantment on it. Got these and this and edible flour. The bear meat. Well, honestly, it's worth more if I cook it. I should have done that. Not by that much, though, honestly. Why don't we just go ahead and sell off our whatever, our meat, animal fat. Here we go. Now, I'm going to sell maybe like 12 of these just because it makes really good tinder. Actually, you know what? We can just use fucking wood shavings if we want to. Bear tooth. Sell this bee. And sell this canine tooth. And these claws. And this eye of bear. And the honeycomb I want to keep because honey is dank and you can use it in a lot of delicious recipes. Saber cat claw, saber eye, saber cat tooth, and a thistle branch. As for these things, the 13th stone, animal bladder. I could use that to ew. What a wonderful grossing me out. That like little layer of fat on it is nasty. Assorted buckles, those are fine. I'll hold on to that. Oh, I forgot I have these hides. Leather strip, sharp rock, small animal bone. So what's that, my guy? Superb animal bone. Sure, it weighs too much. Water skin. It's organized by weight. I got quite a lot of additional carry weight now. Large animal bone. Oh, my voice cracked. Lil Lindsay says, what do you think of Mihail monsters and animals? I've not really looked at it, Lindsay. The idea of adding additional monsters is tough because anytime you add an entirely new creature into the game, there's a lot that needs to be done to reach parity with the other animals. I need to edit it for like Hunterborn to use the Hunterborn mechanics, as well as like the AI mechanics from like Skytest and stuff. Sometimes patches exist for those already, which can speed up the process, but I'm also... Most monster mods that I've seen are typically not balanced for Requiem, or even the monsters themselves are kind of janky and the animations aren't fantastic. I'm not saying that's the case with Mihail, because I've never seen it before, but those would be my concerns. I can take a look at it, though.
I have something you'll want.
Oh, do you?
I'd even buy one of your relatives if you're looking to sell. Yeah, that's a little joke. Take a look.
I forget that sometimes the characters are actually, like, because you just skip over the dialogue after a certain point, right? When you've been playing the game for however long. But, I don't know. Sometimes. Necklace of Extreme Wielding increases damage dealt with one-handers by 25%. That's fucking huge. But it's also, I don't even have enough gold for it right now. I would like a horse, because then you want to talk about collecting a bunch of furs and stuff. Then you just... run them down. It's way simpler. I don't really need any of that. And most of those are what I just sold him. If he has a skill book, Spell Tome Healing Aura on target, that's pretty cool, but I'm not really interested in that stuff at the moment. This Morphus in the helm that wasn't. Oh, I got some soap. Oh, fuck me. I'm dirty. I was getting bad prices. Dang it. Ugh.
You just let me know what you need. I am at your back.
I mean, God, it makes sense from a role-playing standpoint, because I'm like this gross-ass hunter dude just wandering in off the street, dropping a bunch of nasty shit on his, you know, like animal bladders and stuff for him to buy. But I could have been doing much better business if I was clean, which I can go up and clean myself up at Dragon's Reach if I really want to. Dang it. Dang it. Let's see, Zazamari, the pastry chef who's making it, is the same that made the... She's super talented, and we may include some of these with our hot chocolate bar after dinner. Oh man, I can't check it while I'm on the in Skyrim window. That was barely English, and I apologize. I'm gonna go up here, and I'm gonna... Whoa! Nice jump, Zeltier. I'm getting quite attached to this character, I gotta be honest. I haven't even written like a backstory or anything for him. Got my water skin, and now I can drink water. Delicious. There we go. Bam, and fill it back up again. And let's bathe too, shall we? What do we make it? Insert? Is it insert or home? Yeah, here we go. Why did he pull out his torch? Looking nice and shiny there. I was going to say this too. So Boris's ENB binaries that add like a slight degree of reflectivity to all the textures while it's raining. It's so cool. Alright. Well, I don't know why he suddenly equipped the torch, but hey, what are you going to do? Heimskr. So why don't we, just for the sake of this character, we could start pursuing a deity. Like in, what's it called? Religion. How does that sound, everybody? Also, I need to go in and edit some of the colors for these waters. A little bit too green for my tastes. Thunderclaw, any bound weapon changes planned for 4.0? I'm looking at Conjuration Battle Mage build with the death system and whatnot. Not any bound weapon changes planned for 4.0. I'm pretty happy with where bound weapons are at the moment. Especially if you kind of plug in the spell sword mechanics and stuff. It can be a lot of fun. But I do know that there's one mod that adds, I think, just a little bit more variety in terms of bound weapons that I'm looking to add later. So nothing for 4.0, I'd say, Thunderclaw, but maybe in the future. And I think that it'd be perfectly viable for you to pursue that type of character in 4.0 if you so desire. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It's Kinnereth, who's like the hunting deity, right? Oh, cool. I think it's Kinnereth. How does Spellsword interact favorably with bound weapons? it'll just make it easier for you to cast either other schools of magic or also conjuration and alteration while focusing maybe on your martial skills first. So, for example, if you are going to, be like a bound weapon character, I believe bound weapons are influenced by your one-handed skill and things like that, right? As well as your conjuration. So what you could do is if you wanted to focus on maximizing your damage output early while kind of letting your magicka reserves kind of stay for a little bit, you could get a bound weapon on like a piece of gear, I would say, or you can and because that way you can cast it for half the spell cost and your lower magicka pool won't be a problem. Alternatively, you could focus in on on conjuration and kind of build out your bound weapon skills, and then use like a spell sword kind of spell sword gear or spell sword weapon to put some protection or a different spell that you wouldn't normally have enough magicka to cast because you're not perked out in the tree. There's really a ton of different options. So like in that right now here, you can see on our character here, I've kind of been building out like a hybrid scenario. So I have some alteration. That's kind of my main magical school that I've been messing with. And the rest has been largely martial skills. I got evasion, marksman, one-handed. And with just this in alteration, novice alteration, apprentice alteration, and improved mage armor, I'm getting significant bonuses to my mage armor spells. But even with these perks, with a lot of the gear that I'm wearing, and without the perks responsible for lowering magicka costs, and with this fairly small magicka pool, I can still cast my mage armor spells with my steel spell sword. So if where was it? Oop, there we go. I block. Oh, it doesn't have enough charge right now. You can see in the bottom corner. But normally I would not even have anywhere close to the amount of magicka necessary to cast my mage armor spells, but I can now, and because they're perked properly, it kind of allows for hybrid builds to happen, if that all makes sense. So Kinnereth is the huntress, yes. 2 hands, 1 sword, Hirsine. That's a good point. I didn't even think about going Daedric with it, but we could. Isn't Kinnereth friendly to animals? Oops, Hirsine might be hard to find a shrine for. You can craft all kinds of new shrines. I don't think they have functionality, though. They do. I'm guessing you can't dual cast off the sword. No, you cannot. That is a trade-off of the spell sword mechanics. Also, what's it called? These core perks in every tree, right? So these are really responsible for reducing casting costs. And the problem here is that at least with spell sword, is that you get half the spell cost, right, when you're using it through a spell sword or a spell weapon. So that's why it's viable for kind of like hybrid cross-classing, especially like early to mid-game. But the spell costs when casting a spell through the weapon or through the gear do not benefit from the cost reduction perks in like the primary perks on each tree. So eventually, when you're trying to cast something like expert alteration or master alteration spells, or expert or master in any school, the spell costs, even through a spell weapon, will still be so high, because these things are fucking gnarly, right? That really they're restricted to either only a pure mage, or if you can actually manage to cast something of expert level with a spell weapon, it's probably going to deplete your entire magicka pool, unless you're super heavily geared for magicka, in which case you're probably going to be putting perks into these anyway and casting them with your hands. The idea is that a spell sword gear, spell sword weapons allow you to be like an actual spell sword, right? Like you're a hybrid class, and you can do martial stuff and spell stuff fairly well, but you're never going to be as adept or as versatile as like an actual mage. You can't dual cast stuff. Higher tier spells are generally going to be locked to you, so it's kind of like an opportunity cost evaluation for you to do. I think the coolest thing about it is it does actually allow you to start dabbling with your hybrid abilities early game, which is something that's very difficult to do in default Requiem, just because if you put, like, let's say you're trying to build out an arcane archer. if you want to be even semi-effective in either arcane stuff or archer stuff, you're going to have to focus on one of the two trees. And if you focus on one of the trees, doing the other thing is going to be really hard for you to do. If you focus on your magic, your marksman skill will be pretty crap to where it's really tough to even use it as a primary damage output. If you focus on your marksman, your magic costs are going to be so high that you're practically disallowed from using any of the magic that you're trying to do as this hybrid class, especially if you're heavy armor. If you're heavy armor, then you can just fucking toss that entire prospect out the window. A good example is Hjolfrid in Season 1. She couldn't even start casting basic restoration spells. She was kind of a hybrid character too. She couldn't even start casting basic restoration spells until she was like level 15 or 20 or something like that. And we relied almost entirely on heavy armor and two-handed up till that point. And even when she could start casting them, casting a basic healing aura would take up almost her entire magicka pool. So the idea of Spell Sword and of the hybrid classes is that, especially early game, you'll have a little bit more ability to start using the hybrid skills that you are planning to use. And also, if you go into like mid-game and even a little bit of later game, because the spells that fire off through the spell weapons do receive the bonuses from like these perks and stuff, it is actually possible to build out a character who specializes in a very specific type of spell and actually does, like, has a really good version of that spell. Like, a good example would be Ur's Destruction. If you want to, you could focus almost entirely on martial skills, except you also put perks in, like, Pyromancy here, and then you also focus, you're not going to get that one, probably, at least not for a while, but let's see, Cremation and Pyromancy. If you are almost entirely martial, just like a standard sword and board, but you invest these perks into, like, the Pyromancy tree, and you have a spell weapon that has fire spells on it, you are going to be, honestly, a force to be reckoned with when it comes to fire spells. And enemies who are weak against fire are going to be pretty fucking vulnerable to you, even though you're mostly a martial class. So it kind of builds out hybrid abilities. Snot Nose, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Sorry I was on a tangent there. I didn't see your message. Thunderclaw says, Smartcast is out too, right? Yes, that will most likely be the case. It's not out as of right now, but I will probably be removing it, or at the very least limiting its functionality somewhat. It's been a while since I looked at it, but there are a couple things I think are cool, or at least I remember thinking that. Yeah, so we'll see. Let's see here. Does anyone know of an easy way of replacing the player character's sounds? Flinching, getting hurt. Yeah, that's really easy to do, Lindsay. You just have to go into Xedit, find the appropriate sounds, and then just overwrite them with a different sound. Sacroletius, I would really love some casting animations when a weapon is equipped in both hands to still give spells a charging time. Sacroletius, have you watched any of the stuff on Dunk Smith's iEquip? Because I don't know if what he's implemented will quite tick that box for you, but when casting and switching from weapons to spells and like casting bound weapons and stuff, he's added a lot of custom animations, and then there might be one for that. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm really excited about that mod. I've been talking with Dunk on the side, and just hopefully we'll be able to test iEquip soon in the context of Ultimate Skyrim and like a large mod list, because I know he's trying to pin down what the script latency will be, I would assume. 2 hands, 1 sword. Oh shit, I didn't know you could pray to anyone. I thought it was only to the 9 divines. Nice. No, we can actually go after her scene, although it's a little different. Going after the Daedric princes in religion is, when it comes to the divines, the way that you build favor with them is a little bit more traditional. You know, you pray to them, you wear their amulets, you do deeds that they would be fond of, those kinds of things. And the way that religion is geared is that it's more of like at least in the terms of the 9 divines, it's like a long character arc, right? Where you're going to have to put a lot of effort into it to start seeing the bonuses that it will confer. But when you do, the bonuses that you can receive can be exceptionally powerful. So if you are a major champion of a certain divine and you've dedicated like your character's entire life to serving them, you will see some very powerful bonuses, but it takes a long time. The trade-off there is that you can go for Daedra, and the Daedra, typically speaking, those bonuses are a little bit more immediate, but they are also a little bit riskier because we're talking Daedric princes here. Sometimes the Daedra can be total dicks, and they might curse you sometimes. They might curse you depending on things that you've done that they're not super fond of. They're a lot more volatile, and while you might receive greater power sooner, you might also end up a little bit fucked. So that's kind of the choice that you have to make. Let's see here. 2 hands, 1 sword. Oh shit, I didn't know. I just read that. Zazamari, do spell sword casts take an effect, gear cost reductions. So the whole point of spell swords as well is that they ignore the casting penalties from gear. This is why they are viable for use with hybrid builds that are martial, right? So if you are a sword and board character wearing heavy armor, the heavy armor cost penalties will not affect your casting costs through your spell weapon, which is really nice. That's probably the most crucial element of it, to be honest. One problem, though, is that so spell sword was recently updated to 2.0, and it works through a pretty new system, from what I understand. And I've not updated spell sword to 2.0 yet. I'm kind of waiting until Business Goose comes out with he has like a whole Requiem hand patch plan, which is really awesome of him to do. But I know it's a completely different system for how it functions, and so we'll have to see exactly how that interacts with what I've kind of already set up in Ultimate Skyrim. Also, we have about 25 minutes left, just so you guys know. One of the mods that I would like to add soon, that I've really been looking at, and I think would be really, really cool, is this mod that makes spell learning a little bit tougher. You have to kind of have an appropriate amount of magicka in order to learn a spell from a spell tome. And if you fail, there's kind of like some cool temporary penalties, and there's this really nice animation, and it just makes spell learning a little bit more involved, so you can't just suddenly, absorb knowledge from a spell tome and like know the spell even if you're not like a magical character. It makes no sense that my total non-spell caster heavy armor guy can learn a spell and just have it in his repertoire the same way that anyone else could if they were an actual mage. So I thought that would be really fun. I thought that it would also, I have to be careful there too, because the way that spell sword currently works in terms of enchanting is that any spell that you can enchant onto your weapon or your gear and create a spell weapon, right? This is one of the crucial ways of creating spell weapons or spell gear. Also, thank you, Roasted Donut, for the follow. I really appreciate it. And if I add that other mod in, then it might affect the character's ability to do that. So I'm going to have to check and see. It might still be balanced anyway, because you can make the argument that it should be tough for your character to learn a spell, and you should, once you know that spell, then you can create gear that has the spell on it. It just might limit somewhat the hybrid potential, because characters would not be able to learn spells and then put them on it. So in that exact example that I have here with like pyromancy or whatever, a character may not be able to place a fire spell onto a weapon himself, and it may become dependent on you finding one or something like that. Hopefully that all makes sense. It makes sense in my head, but I'm getting like 5 steps ahead of what's actually in the installation here. Let's see. Pray to Shea Gorath, ask for blessing, get turned into sweet roll for 24 hours. That wouldn't be the worst. Worst things to be turned into. Gil's Food Man says, is it possible to build a non-combat character, like a merchant lord that dominates towns through commerce and hires mercenaries to clear a dungeon? Absolutely. That kind of was what Armand was in 3.4, my last character as part of Season 1. But I would say that it's much more possible to do that now with the kind of well, for one thing, with I think IFT handles larger follower counts a little bit better than EFF. I'm also really looking at what is that one follower mod that adds the really cool AI something. I can't remember the name of it. Hopefully, follower live package. That's the one, which hopefully will allow you to manage your guys a little bit more efficiently. But it's absolutely possible to build a non-combat character. You can focus entirely on commerce. If you want to, you can run trade routes that are, you can get a bunch of minerals and raw materials in one area and then bring them to a different area of the world in which they are scarcer and get better prices that way. If you want to do that, it would really behoove you to take notes in your journal to note what prices are where. Also to maximize your speech skills, to maximize your bathing. Also, I missed this message, but I read it at the time. Someone asked if there is actually a visual effect for when your character gets dirty. There is. It was kind of hard to tell because it's dark right here, but there is a visual effect for when you're dirty. So if you're just a nice, cleanly kept merchant. Let's see. If I were trying to build out a character exactly like that, Gil's Food Man, what I would do is I would make sure that I was always clean. I would get all of the possible improvements to my basic speech and haggling that I could, which includes making friends with people. It includes maybe following, who's the god of trade? It's not Julianos, he's mages. I'm thinking Zenithar, I believe, is the divine of trade. So I would become a disciple of Zenithar. I would be, even in your journal, make a little bit of a spreadsheet for different goods and their different prices all around the world so that you could figure out where you're going to be actually making a profit. You could hire a bunch of followers to protect you as you go through the world. That would be another good one, just to make sure that you don't die, because dying is not so fantastic. What else would I do? I'd put a lot of points in speech. That would be a good one, because then you're immediately making a lot of money. And I would also probably build out a house. I like crafting anyway, but that way you don't have to pay for a home in the holds or pay for taxes on your house. Then again, also, if you pay for a house in a hold, you could buy all of them, and the amount that you'd make renting them out would probably be a lot more than the taxes, I would say. In fact, significantly more. So really, there's quite a few ways that you can build out your passive income, we'll call it. Also, Helljarken Farm. That would be a good way to do it. Let's see, Thunderclaw is talking about it right there. I got filthy rich playing the trade routes and smithing for hours. I got a full suit of ebony plate, got cocky, and was demolished by Ron the Crow. I love that idea. I love this merchant master who gets cocky and thinks because he bought a nice set of armor that he can go out and bash some bandits and then just gets his shit pushed in. Lil Lindsay says, at Belmont Boyd, thanks BB. Bet Sujin says you can also use PC or mod PC head tracking and voice type. That's true. That does allow that. Sacroletius, I want to give each race unique animations, but I'm unsure how to do that. For instance, a brutish orc uses a different animation for swinging a two-handed weapon than a small Breton. That's tough. It's really tough to do that. Having race-specific animations in general seems to be a very difficult area of the game to edit, which is why you have all of these extracurricular quote-unquote tools like FNIS. Sacroletius says, I equip may add dual-wield casting animations. I might need to look that up. I think what I'm thinking of, Sacroletius, is the new animations for when bound weapons are spawned through the I equip mechanics. So maybe it doesn't. But there's also other animations out there that definitely add dual-wield casting animations. I know that for a fact. Thunderclaw, got Filthy Rich playing the trade routes, yada yada. Zezamari Zenny. Hey Tyler, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Darth Revan 420. That's an excellent username, my friend. Thank you, Johannes, for the subscribe. Fortnite, no. Skyrim all day. That is literally exactly what happened. These peasants won't even be able to touch me. Well, hubris, right? The pride before the fall. See, Gil's Food Man. Oh my, I'm happy to hear this. I always wanted to make a commerce warrior that conquers the world with his pockets and hires others to do the fighting. That is it's an idea that really appeals to me as well. Gil's Food Man. I just like being able to support or allow for unconventional play styles. It's why I even kind of created Armand to begin with, and like I said, I feel like it's even more possible now in 4.0. So let's see here. I would like to create other means of quote-unquote passive income, especially through things like homesteading, maybe like livestock rearing. I kind of already have mechanics in the game for things like farming, which is cool. I really like other business opportunities as well. Something like Winstead Mine, right? The problem there is that at a certain point, it becomes way... Thank you for the follow, Darth Revan. It becomes way, way too easy to get like a shit ton of minerals very quickly, and suddenly your character is just absolutely rich. So it's tough to balance, but I like those kinds of ideas. I would also prefer if they weren't proprietary systems, like if they weren't just possible through like a singular mine, kind of like how Helljarken Farm is, but you know, one thing at a time, I suppose. Anyway, what we actually need right now, I believe, if we want to start worshipping a Daedra, which I think will be a fun way to kind of end off this stream and give our character something to do next time, we need a book. At least this is the simplest way to start worshipping the Daedra, would be finding a book about the Daedra. Bellathor might have it. I can't remember. If not, I'm trying to think who might. Mr. Man out on the main strip in Whiterun might have it. Go ahead and check those inventories. Hello. Oh, and maybe our man up at Dragon's Reach, Farengar Secret Fire, he might have it.
They say the college has
Hi,
been
Danica.
snooping around Sarkar.
Nice robes.
Mages in the barrier.
Suggestion for a new shrine. Shrine of Belmontos, god of immersion and patron of insomniacs and caffeine addicts. I mean, I'll add that in as an Easter egg, hazardous, something like a Shesson's giving your first newborn. Hello, Mr. Goat. I love the capes, and I love the hoods, and I love... Look at this. It's like, well, let me see. Let me turn on my light so you get something to interact with. See how everything looks kind of like wet, right? That is all the ENB. Check this out. If I turn it off, nothing. Just completely flat texture. Turn it on, boom. Looks beautiful. Am I right? Look at this wet dog. Looks like he smells terrible, which is very accurate, I'd say. You're looking to pick up a... Was she just drinking something? She is. She's got like a goblet. Is this Braith? No, just...
Oh, look over there.
Where? Don't you dare steal from me.
Pardon me.
You fucking dick.
I don't want to talk.
Did you pick my pockets?
Nah, I don't think so.
Fine, you can have it. Clear out Grey Winter Watch. Oh, these are some new ones. Collect Grand Soul Gems. Collect Raw Rabbit Leg. I'll take that one. I can deliver a letter to Rorikstead. Deliver a letter to Tel Mithryn. I don't know where that is. That's far. That might be in, what's it called? Solstein. Grey Winter Watch, huh? Collect Grand Soul Gems. I guess I can collect this, but Grand Soul Gems are very hard. Oh, he only needs one. Okay, cool. Well, this could even be like a thief contract in a way. Let's see here. Collect Grand Soul Gems. Single Grand Soul Gem to complete an enchantment for the Jarl. No, I don't want to discard it. And I'm sure most of you would want to get rid of such magical items. You can bring me this gem. You can expect some scrolls and some gold as a reward. Farengar Secret Fire. Ha! Maybe I'll steal it from him if he has one. How great would that be? There we go. Petty Soul Gem to recharge enchanted item. No, I don't want to discard it. That's fine. So I'm looking for many different kinds. And raw rabbit legs. Running out of supplies. At Riverwood, if you can bring us some raw rabbit leg, you can expect some gold and a hearty meal. Orgnar. Nice. And some slaughterfish eggs. I forgot about that one. I don't want to discard it. I wish there's a better way to do this discard for the missives. I don't like how it pops up right then and there, but I don't know of a better way to implement it. Let's see here. Is mods available? No, I'm sorry, Darth Revan. I've not really set up any stuff on Twitch, like Twitch commands yet. I'll have to do that at some point. Thunderclaw. I'm going to try making a monk in 4.0 who just gets crazy strong training and meditating. You can do that too. All of that is possible. Darth Revan 420. I'm a simple man. I see Skyrim. I see mods, and I follow. Well, I'm glad to have you with us. Kolali. Current mod list for the US 4.0 beta is locked behind BB's Patreon. The previous version 3.4 is located at ultimateskyrim.com with full instructions. Thank you very much for the links, Kolali. I appreciate it. Thunderclaw. Oh, wow. Hazardous. Do you have rain occlusion on? Yes. We can test that right. Let's go find something to stand underneath. Check it out. Boom, baby. Beautiful. Can you believe that? That's what I mean. And he just solved it one day. And it wasn't even like a focus of his release notes. It was just like, oh yeah, I did this too. Hey, puppy. Hello. My bud. We got a little chicken over there who's hanging out as well. Let's see here. This is modding beyond even my level. Oh, dude, we're trying. I made a missives board for Raven Rock. Still waiting for permission to upload, though. Well, thanks for going through the work, Sacrilegius. I'm sure that, I can't remember who made missives. Was that Iron Dusk as well? Oh, yeah, look at them regional fucking armors. Looks awesome, if you ask me. Jirte. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not who I was going to talk to this man. Mithlon. He has a fair share of books. Oh, he's got a Grand Soul Gem, too. That one is not filled, though. I was going to say, look how expensive these are. And they're not filled. Let me see here. Is this just spell tomes? It's all spell tomes. We should add books to his inventory, should we not? Let me make a note to do that, too. The standard books. Go add books. Books to Dawn of Skyrim Magic Merchants. Boom. There we go. Little notes here and there. Now hopefully Bellathor will have what we're looking for. Sweet. So glad to be done with Real Shelter. Me too. Why? Bellathor, why are you closed? Yeah, I'm here. May I come in? What the hell? Please, it's urgent. Alright. Thank you. Why'd you close up shop, my friend? It's not like you to turn down good business. Let's see here. So, we're sweet. So glad to be done with Real Shelter. Me too, Hazardous. We've been done. That was one of the first things that went in, Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt something here?
Everything's for sale, my friend.
Can I please? Do you got a legal basics manual? Uncommon taste, way of the exposed palm. Shit, I don't think he has what we're looking for. Herbane's bestiary, hag ravens. Nope, we're looking for a book on the Daedra. I think it's called the Book of the Daedra, actually. Just this once. They actually will not let you in unless you have a successful persuade check, Zazamari. And I'm actually quite surprised that my character managed that. Snotno says, did I pick a mod for Vampirism? Unfortunately not. As of right now, there's still a bit to do when it comes to 4.0, and I think adding in another Vampirism mod and doing it right would be a bit too much to add on for 4.0, but I definitely will be looking at that after 4.0 releases. Juscuse. I always forget that there's this little patio outside. It's kind of nice, isn't it? Except for apparently this lady is having some trouble. The nav mesh does not look fantastic for this area. People getting caught up on shit. Dragon's Tongue, Stranger. We can always just move these, or we can remove them outright. Also, probably at this point, we should move to Dawn of Skyrim Director's Cut. Dawn of Skyrim Director's Cut. Let's go and check up at Dragon's Reach, just to see if they have this book. Also, maybe even in the temple. I can probably talk with the priests. They might have one. See, I don't get how people make Skyrim look like a 2016 game. Well, effort and talent. You know, someone like Boris, the E&B dev, that dude, he, like I said before, he's a wizard. I don't understand how he does what he does. Hello, Mr. Man.
Need something?
What do you have for sale?
Take a look.
Do you have... This is another person who maybe we should consider adding that book to. Let's see. Book of Daedra. Book of the Daedra. Alduin Akatosh. I just need to read it. I don't even need the... Ooh. To own it myself. Adra and Daedra. That one might do. Designations of gods, demon, Adra, and Daedra, universally confusing to the layman. Often used interchangeably. I don't think that's enough. Alduin is real. Watcher of Stones. Let's see. I don't think so. Of Cross Daggers, House Redoran. Damn it. Any other books anywhere? Oh, we got that light. Oh. Bit of light flickering, unfortunately. That I know that that's not fixed in Special Edition either. God, I wish it was, because it'd be so nice not to have to worry about lights flickering on and off because of the dynamic light limit. And I don't understand either why. Look at this. Mod authors don't build in within that framework, but we gotta go and fix it. Let's see here. I am using Dawn of Sorrow. Sorry, that's a Castlevania game. That's what I'm used to saying when I see DOS. I love door knocking following by persuasion checks, quick speech levels followed. It's pouring outside, it's raining, it's 4 o'clock, but it's dark. Everyone's just trading like it's a nice day. Hey, you know, you gotta keep making money. It's like on a day, I totally get that. When I'm like working, if shit happens, I still have to get my work done, you know? Otherwise, you don't eat. Especially in a world like this. Nice day, though. In a sense. I like rainy days. But, let's see here. I'm using Dawn of Skyrim, Director's Cut. That whole little area is under a roof now. It looks nice. Awesome. Sacrilegious, I have grown to like doing nav meshing. I hated it at first, but now I love it. I don't even know. I'm so bad at nav meshing, Sacrilegious. I've only done it like once. I can't remember how many Whiterun overhauls I merged. I need to, maybe one day you can kind of teach me how to do that, because my CK skills are absolutely atrocious. I'm almost singularly an X-edit modder. Ooh. Cozy. What up, y'all? Hey, boy.
Father says I'm too young to train with the sword, so I practice with my fists.
Oh, yeah? Hey, guys. What's going on over here?
I'm so angry, I can hardly stand it. Father promised me a new dress days ago. Now where is it?
It takes a while to make a dress, Dagny. You have to be patient.
But I don't want to be patient. I want my dress right now. Father promised.
All you ever do is complain about what you want. You're a spoiled baby.
I'm going to tell Father you said that.
I'm pretty sure he can hear you. Alright, Farengar, where you at? Also, lesser soul gems. And just steal it right out from under him. These aren't charged, though. It's not going to do it. Let's see. After over 100 hours in Skyrim, I learned you can 100% the game while level 1. Definitely not in Requiem, you can't, my friend. That is definitely impossible. Or, I don't know. Not without really heavy metagaming, and even then, I don't think it's possible. Let's see, Kalali, just curious, is there an Automaton mod pack for the 3.4 install available on the beta forums? Need to reinstall on a new computer, and not looking forward to doing the manual install. I don't think so, Kalali. Someone may be able to put one together, but I've not heard of anyone doing that for 3.4, unfortunately. Apologies for that, because I know it's not an easy process. Farengar, is that you? Who dis? Oh, it is.
Dragon's Reach to discuss the ongoing hostilities.
Nope.
Take a look.
I'm just looking for some books. You don't got... man, no one's got my... What's it called? The book that I'm looking for. Oh, well.
You should join the Mages College in Winterhold.
Yeah. I'll do it later. Well, we're about 5 minutes in, or 5 minutes away anyway, so I'll just kind of call it here. I'll talk with you guys for a little bit. We got a fair amount of gameplay in this stream, I'd say. Hopefully that's more than the rest. Let's see here. Zarnel, the NPC AI is not advanced enough to respond to complex weathers. Well, actually it is now hazardous, thanks to wet and cold. In fact, we can take a look at it. The reason that they're not going anywhere is because, well, those NPCs might not be registered to work with wet and cold, which is kind of a problem of Dawn of Skyrim, is that a lot of the NPCs don't have fully developed like AI packages and daily routines. But everyone else will respond, and they might do it in Dawn of Skyrim Director's Cut. You can see here that with wet and cold, people will go home, at least in the case of, here, let's see, cold gear, they'll put on gear, and with wet, workers ignore rain. So if you are a manual laborer, you still have to get your work done, even though it's raining a little bit. So you just throw on your hood and your cold gear, and you're good to go. And everyone else will actually go inside, and they won't be outside in the rain, is generally what happens. Sacrilege is 100% Skyrim, no such thing. Ain't that the truth? Zazamai light flickering isn't fixed BB, but it happens so much less. Well, so in major areas, we fixed it. We're talking inns and areas in which it was extremely pronounced. But occasionally you'll still come across an interior cell that suffers from the problem because there's still too many dynamic light sources. It's tough because if you want to light a place, like 4 is not a very high number, right, for a dynamic light, and weird lights, in my opinion, look very strange when they're not dynamic. They look like they should be casting shadows, and they don't. It's not the end of the world if you have just a static light source, but dynamic is much better. And like I said, 4 is an extremely limited amount of number to work with. Some people try and disguise it, and even like there, I'm pretty sure that the Temple of Kinnereth has RLO lighting interiors. Thank you, Sausage Boy, for the subscribe. But even there, it's noticeable if you look for it sometimes, especially in larger cells, interior cells. Let's see here. One is not simply complete Skyrim. Oh yeah. Is killable children part of US? Yes, it is. It is absolutely. Oh my god. You subscribe with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. I thought it was like a YouTube subscriber. I get confused on those. Thank you very much, little sausage boy. I appreciate it. What was I looking at here? Is killable children part of US? It is. You can kill children if you want to. Immersion and all that. Role-playing. I don't like the idea of the game telling me who I can and can't kill unless it's absolutely essential for the game to continue functioning, which is the case for some NPCs. But also, Requiem is really good about editing NPCs so that you can kill them anyway, even if it means fucking up the main quest or whatever. Rob says, big yeet. Darth Revan, the ultimate question, vampire or werewolf? I think both are a lot of fun. I like, ideally, my ideal implementation of a vampire and a werewolf is one that vastly switches up your gameplay. I think that vanilla werewolf and vanilla vampires are very boring. I think that it's mostly just like a set of powers, practically. And there's almost no reason, especially in the case of a werewolf, there's almost no reason not to become a werewolf. That's why we have a few changes. Werewolves in particular are pretty cool now. Vampires, I removed Vampiric Thirst, and I need to re-implement a vampire mod to kind of make them a little bit more engaging than they are in default Requiem. And they're not terrible. They're more engaging than they are in vanilla anyway. 2 hands, 1 sword. Kids are always dying in my game. I loot their house keys. That's why they shouldn't give house keys to children. Can't be trusted. They just keep going around dying all the time. And I mean, in a world like this, right? It's a dangerous place to be. So, in the next stream, I should have the dynamic crafting kind of filled out, so we'll be able to use it on our character and kind of show off some of those features. It's really cool. If I do say so myself, it's one of the proprietary... I can't say if I'm more excited about the death mod or about dynamic crafting, but both of them I think are really incredible, and I think that dynamic crafting in particular just makes crafting so much more enjoyable for me personally. I know that a lot of people don't mind using the individual stations, but I definitely do. I hate hopping between the stations. I hate having to remember what is crafted where, and just, it's so slow. I hate having to hop into a station to see what a recipe is, or to, you know, reference the required ingredients and things like that. So I think that the new dynamic crafting system is a major, major improvement that also, of course, retains the immersion factor of having individual crafting stations. And I will also likely add more crafting stations now that dynamic crafting is a thing, like clothing crafts, spinning wheels, or its loom, things like that, where you can build out even more possibilities for things to craft and make it as immersive as possible. So I'm pretty excited about that. Should be very... even if you don't even plan on using like the kind of area crafting station detection of dynamic crafting, at the very least your crafting menu will still function as a recipe book that you can reference wherever you want. So I think that players who are uninterested in the area detection functionality can just skip it and can use the crafting stations directly, and even those players will gain additional functionality through the recipe book, if that makes sense. Let's see here. I'm evil in 11 out of 10 saves, so I prefer vampire for sure. I like the idea of a good vampire. That's always more interesting to me because it's almost inherently conflicting. I'm evil in 11 out of 10. I'm good in all playthroughs. I kind of end up doing that too, Sacrilegious, or a lot of the time in role-playing games, I just find it so difficult to be an evil character. I feel really bad. Thunderclaw says, I'm super excited about having access to the recipes. Oh, yes, me too, Thunderclaw. I'm glad that's the case for you. Kalali, have you looked at Vampiric Thirst redone for Requiem 2.0? Is that a new mod, or is that an update to Vampiric Thirst redone? Because we had Vampiric Thirst redone in Requiem before, but even it's so overpowered, and it's so easy to become... it makes the game much, much easier. Werewolf for the passives. Thunderclaw, I hate having to run back to the station to remind myself. Me too. And that's if you remember the correct station, right? And that was what kind of prompted it all, is that I had the crafting table built out, and it definitely improved the system and made it less necessary for you to remember what was crafted where, because most things were crafted at that single station. But even there, like in the case of anything involving metal, like a forge recipe or a smelter recipe, you still had to hop between stations. And then it wasn't even intuitive what armor would be crafted where. Like, take something like leather armor, for example, which is what really kind of was the final nail in the coffin that made me go, this needs to be fixed better. So leather armor, because of Complete Crafting Overhaul Remade, the helmet and the cuirass use iron, because if you look at the models for those armors, they very clearly feature iron fasteners and elements. So I think they should include iron ingot in their recipes, because that's what's included in the material. In vanilla Skyrim, the leather armor recipes only use leather and only use leather strips, but they have like metal parts. So I understand why Complete Crafting Overhaul Remade changed the recipe, but then you have this weird scenario where the boots, the gauntlets, and the I think that's it, right? The boots and the gauntlets and the shield. No, sorry, the shield uses iron too. Anyway, so the boots and the gauntlets don't use any metal at all, and by the former rule set for what goes where, that means they should be crafted at the table. But then the cuirass, the helmet, and the shield all contain like a metal element, so they need to be crafted at the forge. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, well, it's not exactly intuitive for you to have one armor set that contains 5 items. You have 3 of them crafted at one station and 2 of them crafted at another station. It makes sense in terms of immersion because of the materials that are used. Rib shops at Payless. My God, what the... Thank you so much for the donation. Who is that now? What the hell is happening here? Jeez, you guys are spoiling me here. I don't know what to say. But anyway, yeah, so that was the example that made me think there needs to be a better system for this, because on the one hand, I understand why these different sets of the same armor set, different pieces of the same armor set should be crafted at 2 separate stations, but that's really not intuitive at all. It's confusing. And so I really wanted there to be a way to consolidate all the recipes so that no matter what it is that you're building, if you have all those stations near you, you can access any of the recipes that you need. It's just so much simpler and so much more efficient. I think that it is really an awesome system, and I'm excited to show it off to you guys. Let's see here. I'll finish out this chat, and then I will conclude this stream. Hazardous. Someone posted on Reddit about the unlimited training with the companions. I wonder how many people exploit that. Also, I saw that post, Hazardous. I mean, it's kind of intended that way. There's a lot of different ways in the game that you can do that. Or like spell research allows you to do that. I know that was the other example that the person posted. That was Thordok. Same thing with the companions is if you want, theoretically, you can continue sparring with the companions to train your skill indefinitely. It takes a lot longer than training in other ways, but I don't necessarily see it as an exploit as long as the rate of experience gain is appropriate. That would be what you need to tweak. But if you are continuously training at this, I don't know, the person who made that post had some good suggestions, I think, for potentially limiting it. Even something being like, I'm not going to spar with you anymore until you complete, some other quest. But I don't know. I don't see it as necessarily a problem if that, because you can do the same thing with like train and study, right? Like if you wanted to, you could just take a bunch of books for like a skill that you're trying to train, and you could just study it for like as long as your material resources will support, right? You still got to eat, you still got to sleep, you still need to find a place to do all that stuff. But if you have all that, if you have like your own house, let's say, so that you don't have to pay for rooms at an inn, you have your own source of food, and you have books that you can study to increase your skills, I don't know, I kind of think you should be able to level up your skills that way. I don't see a problem with it, because ultimately it's a single player game, and it's a role-playing overhaul. That's what Requiem is, and that's what Ultimate Skyrim tries to maintain. And Ultimate Skyrim tries to give you even more ways to role-play your character. And so I don't know. I'm not quite sure that I'm convinced that it's exploitative versus just a natural option that you should have, which is why I implemented it to begin with. Thunderclaw, I'm missing one of these messages. Something into the late game. I usually find a nice medium by being harsh but fair, lawful, good. This needs to be fixed better. Could apply to most of Skyrim. Shots fired. I'm sorry, Rob. That has to be someone that we know. This OBB. I know it's been a bit, but any thoughts on playing Cataclysm DDA anytime soon? So Zazamari, I've been following Cataclysm DDA very closely. Right now it's really hard for me to justify spending time streaming with random games other than development time, because my schedule all the way through the end of this year is very stacked, especially with that trip to Japan, and 4.0 development is really my primary focus. If I start dabbling in playing other games for streams, it'll probably be after 4.0 releases, but I do plan on playing it myself and just kind of getting a feel for it. And I have been dabbling in Rykon's playthrough of Cataclysm DDA. So maybe, I guess, is the short answer. Kalali, sorry not VT redone. I was thinking of the Vampire and Werewolf overhaul for Requiem 2. Just looked it up and it was rolled into the Immersive Divine Blessings mod for Requiem 2. If you're talking about the tweaks, I have not quite decided whether or not those are going into like 4.0. We'll see. Update top donation or riot. Well, so hopefully it updated. It takes a quick second for some reason for the stream labels to update, but I suppose it's all looking correct now because that donation is the all-time, the monthly, today's, and the most recent. So you don't know. I don't shop at Payless. Is Payless expensive? It shouldn't be. 2 hands, 1 sword. Walked in there one day to see what they had, and I wasn't impressed with the prices. Sounds like you're not really paying. Nordstrom Rack is the fucking best, Rob. I love Nordstrom Rack. I wish there was one closer, but I very rarely purchase clothes. That's why I'm always wearing the same shirts for all these streams. Ribbon can get you a discount. He knows everyone from every store. Oh, it's Dylan. Well, Dylan, thank you very much. And I didn't mean to put you guys into a bidding war either. Let's see here. +1 in Nordstrom Rack. Big yeet for the rack. No worries, dude. Just curious. Well, thank you for the recommendations, Azamari. You know that is definitely a game that appeals to me. Okay, maybe exploit is too strong of a word for it. I guess I'm struggling to understand how much of the original Requiem difficulty is supposed to be preserved in Alt Sky, because with unlimited training, you can skip the early game altogether. Just speculating. Oh, sure, I'd totally get it. The thing about Requiem difficulty is that it's really just a consequence of, I don't know, of fighting things, right? And to me, I think that if the Requiem devs, you can ask them, you can ask Ogre Boss kind of what their opinion on it would be, but I think the difficulty was always just a function of the role-playing. The reason that Requiem is hard is because if you were to go out and try and fight so many of the creatures in Skyrim, we're talking bears, we're talking fucking undead nightmares and monsters and all kinds of things. Those things should be hard to take down. They are very difficult creatures to fight. Thank you, Deo Storm, for the sub. And that's why I think they're hard in Requiem, but I don't think it's difficulty for difficulty's sake. And I think that if there were a role-playing option that allows your character to grow their experience in a way that makes sense, that fits within the world, for example, studying or sparring with, a person who has martial skill who's trying to teach you those skills, I think that it fits. Or at the very least, you can call it an area. 'Cause the goal of Ultimate Skyrim is not solely to take Requiem, exactly what the Requiem developers would do, and only do that, because if so, then it wouldn't change anything from Requiem. It just uses the Requiem philosophy as a basis and then kind of expands on what I feel like should be in the game, or what I would be interested in doing for myself. So maybe that's kind of like a resolution for it. 2 hands, 1 sword. Alright, I have to head to class. Peace out, everyone. I hope to see you next week. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Deo Storm, thank you so much for the sub. Hey, Uncle Corey, hello. I'm very sorry because I'm about to sign off right now. But thank you for joining us. Thank you all for joining me. It was a really fun stream, as per usual. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Dylan, for the donations. You guys are spoiling me, as per usual, as well. And I will see you guys at the same time next week. So if you have any other questions, you guys know how to reach me. I'm on Reddit. I'm on Discord. I'm on YouTube. You can send me a snail mail. Actually, you can't, because my address is not available online, but that I'm going to keep that way. Send me a telepathic message of some sort, and then you can, I'll pick it up. I have my scrying crystals over there in the corner, so I'm sure that I can check them out, and I'm sure that message will get there too. Hubbe Humle, thank you for the subscribe as well. And Hazardous said, good work, BB. Says more, let's raid Bay. That we can do. That I can do most definitely. So let me go ahead and exit out of my thing here. I think that's going to turn into somewhat of a tradition. Go exit to desktop. We already saved, right? We did. Okay. We good. Exit to desktop. And then let's go ahead and send Bailey in a raid. What is the command? It's just /raid. Bailey. Someone remind me how to do that, because I don't want to fuck it up or break it. I don't know how to do anything on Twitch. Oh, Sacrilegious, thank you for joining me too. Oh, I'm thirsty. Okay, gotcha. Alright, here we go, guys. Thank you all for joining me, as per usual, and I will see you next week at the same time. Make sure I spelled that correctly. I think I did. Boom. There it goes. 14 viewers are ready to raid Bailey, and in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you guys very much. Let's do it.